In the studio with me this morning from Tharp Auction Services, it is owner-operator Thad Tharp. Good morning, Thad.
Good morning, Vanessa. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you here. How are things going?
Good. It's kind of crazy how everything has jumped into gear here with the rollout about a month ago. Got our first auction coming up in December and more in the boilerplate. So very thankful for how things have started out.
Oh, fantastic. And you have such an inspirational story behind becoming an owner-operator of your own business called Tharp Auction Services. Tell everybody all about it.
Well, this is just something that I have enjoyed since I was a little kid. You know, growing up in Roseville, I was a half a block from where Van Adkisson used to have his sales there at the old gymnasium in Roseville, and I would drive my mom nuts enough in the mornings on Saturday mornings that she would say, just go to the auction and leave me alone. And so I would go down and I'd ride on the tailboard of his little auction cart all through the gym and just listening to him sell all day. And I guess, you know, subliminally that tied something into me that I just really enjoy it. And fast forward to today, I love going to auctions. I've been fortunate to help Van over the last several years and help Kyle Kelso over the last several years. I'm actually going to Fairview Sale Barn today to sell cattle this afternoon. So just it's unbelievable to me, but I'm very thankful for all the opportunities I've gotten.
What are the characteristics of a successful auctioneer business, such as what Van had, and you said Mr. Kelso also?
Honesty is above all else. Honesty, integrity. You need to be very well versed in the products that you're selling. So when you're selling farm machinery, you better know what you've got in order to find the right demographic of people to bid on it. And the auction industry has changed so much since 2020. You know, I went to auction school as a bucket list item in 2020 just to make sure. You know, I always wanted to go, and I got home a week before, when I was at auction school, COVID hit Seattle. That was the day COVID came to America. And the week after that is when the whole world shut down and live auctions were no longer a thing. So I told my wife, that seems about right. I went and paid and got my license, and now there's no such thing as a live auction anymore. But luckily, that is making a strong resurgence back. People want to go to a live auction. Now, online's not going anywhere, and we're definitely going to offer online abilities along with the live, and I think that's the right thing to do. But, it takes honesty, integrity. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that you don't really understand, and I have very much didn't understand until I got into the business of setting up the auction and making sure it flows correctly, and having people on your team to be able to manage sale day. There's a lot involved. It's a pretty intricate, fast moving business.
And you said you were in Seattle at auction school when COVID hit?
So I was in Branson, Missouri, actually, for the Missouri School of Auctioneering, and there was another student there that was from Seattle, and he had gotten a text from his girlfriend that said Seattle's on lockdown, COVID concerns.
Wow.
And I had never heard of it at that point, but that was the week that COVID got to America is the week I got my finished auction school.
So March in 2020.
Yeah, yep.
It's basically the week, what was it, St. Patty's Day weekend?
Yeah. Yep.
Holy moly. And I'm so glad you had that relationship with Van and that he was an inspiration. He is such a blessed, wonderful person. And every time you talk about or think about Van Adkisson, God rest his soul, what a pillar of the community.
There won't be another one. Van was a good man through and through. He did more for our community than most people realize, and I'm very thankful that he was my mentor and my friend.
That's awesome. Good to know. Okay, so you got your license. You're ready to do it. What's the website? How do people find you?
Yeah, so tharpauction.com is the website. You know, keep an eye on that. There's going to be more auctions added to it. Right now, like I said earlier, we've got a farm retirement sale in Henderson County. Will and Sherry Pruitt, their sale's coming up in December 14th. It'll be a Saturday. That'll be live in person along with live online bidding. And then there's a real estate auction that'll be in January. So in that, yes, I have my auction license. Now I'm working on getting my real estate broker's license to go along with that, to follow Illinois law and the way that all has to be executed. I'm just about done with my real estate broker's license to be able to help fully sell real estate on my own. But in the meantime, I'm very thankful for Kyle Kelso and his crew. We're going to be working together to be able to execute that real estate sale in January. Kyle is an awesome person. He's been great to me over the last few years selling with him, and he meets all those criteria I mentioned earlier of honest and hardworking. And I'm glad we're teammates in a sense. So to meet Illinois state law, that land auction will be executed through Kelso Roads Real Estate Group. So once I have my full brokerage license and the ability to do auctions, I will do that fully on my own. But in the meantime, I can still help folks market real estate through Kelso Roads, and they're great to work with.
Okay. We're talking with Thad Tharp. He is an entrepreneur, a farmer. For those that don't know you, tell people a little bit about you and your wife, Holly.
Well, my wife Holly and I live outside of Monmouth. I grew up in Roseville. She grew up in the country outside of Little York. She works at Monmouth College, and I've worked as an ag lender for about a decade now, just short of a decade. But I've grew up in Roseville and just always loved being on the farm. So I'm fortunate in the aspect that I've been able to find a way to get cattle, and thankful for Jean Robeson for renting me her pasture, and we run some cows there, and I place some cattle on feed in different barns, in western Illinois. So in the cattle industry, more than the crop industry, we do farm just a little bit of row crop ground, but small farmer, started with ag lending, and now this auction thing has really turned into something that I'm very passionate about and hope to pursue the rest of the time. So
Good. Okay, and remind people, it's been a very unique set of couple of years here with prices, and there's challenges for farmers right now. We talked about this more in depth at the Ag Roundtables, but as an ag lender, what do you see on the horizon as we look toward even next year? We see these rate cuts coming in. Has that been influential and positive to help markets?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, those rates, whether there's a direct correlation to the corn and bean board, for what our guys are farming right around here, those are going to support prices a little bit. But the more important factor of those rate decreases by the Fed, right, wrong, or indifferent, is, it's helping guys with operating expenses. There's going to be some term debt taken on through auction season, as I call it, of the land transfer between now and March, and being able to take advantage of those rate decreases, which I think will keep coming, in my opinion, through election time here at least. It's more of a financial help from an operating expense standpoint. We've seen operating rates get upwards of 8, 9, 10%, and 3 years ago that was 3, 4, 4.5%. So that makes a world of difference on a guy's cash flow when you're paying twice as much interest.
That is so true, and that's what we want. We want to try to get those prices to be a bit more palatable for the farmer, to make it through a challenging time with the markets. We heard a lot about that, and we're definitely hoping for a good 2025 and some changes in the markets, and hopefully that will happen. Tri-County Cattlemen, you're a member of that as well, and that's a lot of local folks right here in the area.
Yeah.
What are you guys working on?
So right now we've done some other cooks this fall, some little cooks, but the main thing we're working towards is the banquet coming up in February. I don't have the date in front of me, but check the website, tricountycattlemen.com. That'll give you the dates on when the banquet is. We're going to have it out in Biggsville at the barn at Fairview Acres again. Last year was the first year for doing that, and it was a great success. I know it was a big gear shift from all the years of going down to Western, but I can tell you, as a treasurer on the board, we've done a very good job of making sure we fill the scholarship fund, and last year was a big highlight of that. So thank you to everyone for your support. But again, we're going to have that banquet in February out at the barn at Fairview Acres, and kind of the same agenda. I haven't heard anything from a speaker standpoint or entertainment, but be ready for that.
Yeah. Gail will be sure to update us too. Gail Baker usually comes in and she'll have a lot of details and the excitement that goes around the banquet. So we're looking forward to it very much. And Illinois Beef Association, you're also a member of that group as well. Tell us what's going on in the beef world.
The beef world. So Illinois Beef, we had I was on some text messages there a couple nights ago when this McDonald's E. coli thing was coming out, and they weren't sure where it was coming from. And it's bad that it happened at all, but I'm thankful it wasn't the burger. So it looks like that was an onion issue as opposed to the burger. But, you know, from an Illinois beef perspective, the market is very good. We're still, these live cattle prices, you know, I was selling down at Fairview on Tuesday afternoon as the auctioneer, and cull cows are still bringing $1.20 to $1.40 depending on what they are. And, you know, historically on a 10-year average, that's probably closer to 50 cents compared to $1.30. So, you know, meat prices are still very good. The box beef is still very good. Fat cattle are nearby and front months. Those are all priced well. Feeder cattle are too darned expensive if you want to sell them, but boy, I'm glad they're high if you want to sell them. Too high if you want to buy them. But the board is strong, shows no sign of falling off. But that being said, I'm a big proponent of make sure you've got some sort of protection out there, because the market will change its mind faster than you can see it coming.
Yeah.
So the other thing on the Illinois beef, we've got the Illinois Beef Quality Showcase, which is a program that I was fortunate to be involved in getting started. And what that is we're going, you know, people have made donations. We've got about 25 head of calves donated. They're going to go on feed down at the University of Illinois starting the second to last week in November. And then they will go through that program and be on the GrowSafe system. We will gather all sorts of data, and those cattle will be harvested at Tyson up at Joslin, and we'll get all the carcass data back on those cattle. So the intent of the program is to be able to gather data about Illinois' cattle and genetics and highlight the fact that this is a great place to feed and finish cattle. So we're going to have, there'll be prizes for top marbling, top rate of gain, several different categories where people will have a chance to actually win a monetary prize along with the bragging rights of, I got the best beef in Illinois. So this is our first year for it. Very thankful for the folks that are donating, and it's a big ask, especially with the cattle prices where they are. But that is going on, and it'll be fun to watch. There'll be a banquet at the annual meeting in June, and be sure to tune into that.
The two most effective beef advertising campaigns was Where's the Beef? Remember her?
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, yeah.
Beef, it's what's for dinner.
It's what's for dinner.
Yeah, and nobody says it better than Sam Elliott.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Also, you're a county board member, so thanks for serving on that as well. Last night's meeting had a few things you were able to accomplish.
Yeah, we went ahead and voted on and passed the initial letting of the bond referendum so that we can start the process on the jail. So this allows us to be able to let out, and I know enough to be dangerous here, but this is what gives us the timeline to be able to start building in April of 25. So this is the beginning of the financial procedure and get the legal documentation started to where we can get bonds issued, funding secured, and be ready to start construction as soon as possible.
Okay, and that's at Law Enforcement Center. That's located right next to like Western Illinois Home Health Care, across from the fire department, right by GHOS as well.
Yes. Yep, that's right.
Okay. Anything else on County Board you need people to know from last night's meeting?
The courthouse is in process. I've had a lot of folks ask me about the stone work on the courthouse, and we're trying to get towards the finish line. Just bear in mind that you can't just go to Lowe's and buy that stone. So there's been a lot of issues as getting the matching color, and it's been very important to us to keep the historical appearance and historical relevance of that building intact. So yes, it's taken longer than we'd hoped. Yes, it's been a little unsightly for too long in our opinion, but we're going to get there. So appreciate the patience, but we are going to get there on that building.
Okay. Appreciate all the updates, and good luck on this new venture as well with Tharp Auction Services. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.